American UFO fleet is located underneath Los Alamos in New Mexico. Also at the Archuleta Mesa, known as the Dulce Base. And also the Denver National Airport is the capital of the human segment of the New World Order government, where Dulce Base is more or less the capital of the alien segment. And Dulce Base is located at Four Corners. If you're familiar with the Four Corners areas of the United States, all underneath that desert. The entire state of New Mexico, from Taos and Los Alamos and Dulce, all the way to Nevada, probably even California, they have a huge underground network tunnel system. So they don't have to travel by airplane or by car, by trucks or vehicles. All these bases connect through a huge tunnel system underneath the ground. And that's why they've been able to keep secret for so long and people not see them coming in and out of these things. Because there's cities underneath the ground. They actually live in these cities. And they can travel underneath the ground. They have cars and subway systems underneath the ground to where they never even have to come up to the surface of the earth. You know, in many underground bases, the aliens and the humans, they work side to side together. But as I said, as the Lord has shown me, any human that agrees to work with these aliens will become possessed by them. You know, the humans are possessed by the aliens and assimilated into this alien collective that is controlled by Lucifer himself. And so all these humans who think that they can work with these aliens and remain autonomous or who they are, they're kidding themselves, because these aliens take over their bodies. They take over them. You know, when our government officials first made contact with the aliens and started signing treaties with them, the process then was underway for a total Luciferian control of our government. We're going to take a short break here, folks, and we'll be right back.
This is the Reality Radio Network on Telstar 5 Transponder 5 and on the internet at realityradionetwork.com.
Do you know where the 78 potentially active volcanoes in U.S. are located? And do you know the locations of the top 300 prime terrorist targets? You can find these answers and more in the new interactive CD book, Prudent Places USA. With the more than 50 interactive parameters, you can pinpoint natural and man-made disaster areas, brewing environmental catastrophes, the safest cities, the best places for solar and wind energy, and much, much more. Complete with 3 gigabytes of detailed information on each of 3,000 plus counties in the U.S., including 550 high-resolution full-color maps and full-color photographs, as well as detailed information and analysis to help you zero in on the best places to live, the ideal location for cabins and vacation homes, as well as safe and unsafe areas. Get Prudent Places USA for only $29 plus shipping by calling New Millennium at 888-803-4438. That's 888-803-4438 to order on the web or at berkeywater.com.
Lazarus, he came with the ragtag band to bring a revolution. Some would make him king, others couldn't stand for that. The cross was a solution, but he rose again. Wise men follow him. Wise men follow him.
And now back to Sherry.
And welcome back to the show, everybody. You know, talking about secret societies and occultic groups that have existed since the beginning of time and under different names, all established to worship Satan and enslave those involved with Lucifer who have come under his authority and his dominion. And so far, all of these occultic groups have now dominated almost every government around the world, and you'll find all these government leaders, but the one thing in common is that they all belong to one of these Luciferian-based groups. You know, only high-ranking Freemasons, Scottish Rite, Skull and Bones, and other societies under the umbrella of Luciferian control have been allowed in positions of gaining security clearance to even come in contact with these aliens. But even at the lower-ranking levels of these societies, The members are required to acknowledge allegiance to Lucifer as the god of light or god of this world or whatever other deceptive verbiage they are required to recite as an oath. And this is what gives Lucifer and his demons and aliens permission to possess and control these humans. And you take an oath to Lucifer. The Bible forbids the taking of oaths, and that's why, to protect you from this. And so people who are not obeying the Bible will take these oaths, and they're worshiping Lucifer as the god of light. They go through these secret societies, and sometimes they're not even revealed until higher up in the societies that they actually are worshiping Lucifer. The dark side and the forces of evil operate on a permission basis. When someone takes an oath to Satan, no matter how deceived they are about the kind of oath they're taking, they are giving him permission to enter, demonize, and possess them. So you can't use ignorance as an excuse because you're not following the commands in the Bible to not take an oath. Secret societies that require oaths to join them are of the devil. Making oaths to the dark side allows the demonic to possess those in them, and when they are physically dead, Satan will possess their souls forever. In the meantime, these people can be soul scalped and replaced by aliens or demons who then take over their bodies. And, I've talked about soul scalping before on this show. And what they can do is they literally can just take a human soul out of a body and take over that human's body. And that's what they do. And they do it. And so you have, well, what happens to the soul? Well, I didn't get into all of the details of Dulce Base and the things that they've seen there, but there's a storage level there. I believe it's down level 6 or 7 of nothing but storage containers, and in these storage containers are people's souls, and you might think I'm crazy, but this is, this isn't fiction. Everything that you think is fiction in horror movies, it's usually reality. I mean, where do you get this stuff from? I'm almost convinced there's no such thing as fiction, because everything that we've thought is fiction, is seen as fiction, is reality somewhere, or it becomes reality in the future, and it's usually the dark side or the government giving you information of what they're doing. You thought Star Trek was just a silly series? Think again. The shadow government that was running alongside ours, because it's pretty much taken over our government now, being run by the Council of Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, the secret societies, all owned and operated and controlled by Lucifer. And all of these people that are in these groups, these Luciferian-based groups, prime candidates for possession, soul scalping, and control and cloning, and everything else. It's Lucifer, an agenda, a Lucifer agenda. Many people have said that they have seen a government official shape-shifting, and I have some silly pictures on my website at the Watcher Files. And Ted Kennedy, whatever, and I don't even remember who else is on there. Oh, this thing on there with Al Gore shape-shifting on television a couple of years ago, and this is why. This is why it happens, because these people have been soul scalped and they're possessed by aliens. We consider it as a demonic possession, and the only reason I'd make a distinction between aliens and the demonic is because they are different. There is a distinction. Enoch calls demon spirits, the spirits of the hybrid children, as demons. Everybody else, the watchers that fell, were fallen angels. For those involved with the shadow government and secret societies, first thing they'll lose is their autonomy and individuality as human beings. Then they lose their bodies and eventually their souls. Like I said, many have been soul scalped, replaced by aliens themselves who now inhabit their bodies personally. You've heard of the fifth column of the FBI, something going on there. We know they're hybrids. And I talked to a guy on the internet about 3 or 4 years ago who had spent time in a Boston prison, and he just swore up